So if I woke up tomorrow and I was 30 years old again with everything I know now, this is exactly the money moves I would make. No crypto hype, no get rich quick schemes, just what actually worked for me as a middle-aged blue collar worker here in America. So if you're new here, I work a blue collar job. I work a lot of overtime and I've made a lot of money mistakes so other people hopefully don't have to. This isn't really theory. This is what I would actually do if I did have to start over at age 30. But in reality, I kind of started over at age 27. So the first move I would make with money at this point wouldn't be to invest, surprisingly, but it would be to stop the dumb leaks or the dumb spending, the $1,000 a month truck notes, the lifestyle creep. That's when, like, if you got a dollar per hour raise, you would factor that dollar per hour raise into your budget, and it would be like you didn't even get a raise, right? Instead of saving money, you're just spending it. Lifestyle creep. And it would really be financing toys. Like, I would get rid of financing toys that didn't make me money. At 30 years old, I would cap my lifestyle hard. It wouldn't matter how much money I made. If I made $1 million a year, I would still live like I'm broke for 2 to 3 years because investing doesn't work if you're constantly leaking money, if your money leaks out faster than it's able to grow. And you don't need a higher income at this point in time. You need to cap spending. So the second change I would make with money would be to establish an emergency fund. Before I invested a single dollar, I would have, the Dave Ramsey 3 to 6 month emergency fund set aside in just like an interest-bearing account that I had access to, right? Not because it makes me money, but because it keeps me from pulling money from my investment. Say if my home air conditioner went out, that $3,000-4,000 that I would end up pulling from 401k, or if my car broke down, I had to pay that $1,000 repair bill, I wouldn't have to pull that money out of investments. Instead, I would have that money set aside, making 3 to 4% interest in a fixed interest rate account that I had access to, right? And that's the difference between people who stay invested and people who quit. So the third thing I would change if I was trying to restart at 30 would be that I would stop trying to be smart. I would, get my company match in my 401k, then I would roll to my Roth IRA and keep it so stupid simple. Broad market funds, S&P 500, total market funds, tickers such as VTI, it's just a total stock market index funds. No stock picking, no day trading, no options, which is where I messed up in my late 20s and early 30s, I guess. Time in the market beats everything, and I know people hate to hear that, especially me, because I love trading, but also lost money at trading. So consistency in the market. Don't try to time the market. Just you're going to beat 98% of day traders if you just buy consistently, dollar cost average into the market, the total stock market funds, and just ride it out and just sit around and be patient. So number 4 is something that I probably should have worked on a lot more, and that is investing in income, such as, different skills, acquiring skills, side hustles, learning how money basically works. This has really hit me hard in my late 20s because you can't out invest low income. My first job out of college, I made like $32,000 per year. I had no idea. I was just thankful to have a job at the time. But from that point forward, I started really hustling, really striving to grow my income, and I'm finally, just now reaching that point in my mid 30s. So the more income equals more investing and faster freedom. Obviously, compound interest works better if you have more money to invest, more income, more disposable income. If you're able to work overtime, work a side job, anything you can do to grow your income and grow that disposable income is more money you're able to invest, and obviously it compounds over time and you're able to retire earlier. So if you're younger, if you're in your early 20s, still in college, really hadn't started working yet, here's 3 things that I would definitely avoid, and I've talked about these before, but number 1, until I got a decent net worth, I would not buy a new vehicle. They just depreciate so quickly. 25% in the first 2 or 3 years, it takes a huge hit off your net income, and it's just outright expensive. There's so many options out there for used vehicles that are, a third of the price. So just be patient, look for a nice used vehicle, and stay clear of the new dealerships. Number 2, I wouldn't get into the hyped up investments, the sketchy cryptos. Which really affected me was the call options and put options. Those are very complicated and risky investments, and it's just better off to keep your investing boring. And then number 3 is I wouldn't wait to start. If I was 21 again, even, I would definitely start looking into how can I make more money, or how can I make money, period, and still go to school. Side hustles, even when you get your first job out of school, try to work overtime if you're hourly. Just try to have that disposable income, like I said, that you're able to invest early and consistently. So in closing, it doesn't matter if you're 22 or 52. I encourage everybody to have a financial plan put in place, one that works for them and their family, but also one that, allows you to invest into the market on a consistent basis, dollar cost average over years and even decades, and just have a plan and stick to it. Be disciplined about your finances and you won't regret it. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll see you next week.